Follow Bob Gallagher on Twitter at Ross Mortgage Co. It's Real Estate Matters on the Money Matters Radio Network.
Welcome back. You're listening to Real Estate Matters here on the Money Matters Radio Network. I'm your host, Bob Gallagher, joined in the studio with my co-host, Pete, and joined for the second segment by our special guest, Deb Schradieck of RE/MAX in Westboro. How's everybody doing? Excited
Doing
for the
great.
second segment?
Fine.
Deb, thanks for staying for the second go-around.
Yeah,
here.
we
My
appreciate
pleasure.
that.
We had too much to say to get it all
I
into
know
one.
it.
Yeah.
We didn't even get into the good stuff.
Yeah, we did. So why don't we get back into? We were talking about we got to give some people some tips on how to deal with ice dams, because if we do end up getting rain this weekend, it's not going to be good for anybody. So make sure you get out there before it starts raining.
That's right. And this isn't the kind of task that everyone should try to do themselves. Let's just start by saying that. This might be something you want to spend some money on and get it done professionally, because there is a lot of risk in getting up on a roof that's covered in ice. And the hospitals are full of people who have fallen off. So do not try this at home unless you really feel competent and capable. But ice dams are going to cause big problems. And if you don't know what they are, basically ice builds up on the edge of your roof. And when it begins to melt, the water thaws and starts running out. And then it refreezes and pushes the water up under the shingles.
Yep.
The result is that you get water running down the walls of the inside of your house. It can come out the windows. It can be a huge, huge mess. So just a little heads up, try to get your ice dams broken up.
Yeah, or
and
get
removed.
somebody over there to remove them.
Yep. And
So,
get this,
and Pete's actually going through this right now. I mean, you
Yeah.
it was like somebody turned on a faucet inside your cabinets.
We've had the house 38 years. We bought it brand new, and through the storm of '78, no problems. Up until this winter, we've never had a problem with ice dams or anything like that.
I'm
And
gonna go
tell
on
you-
a limb and and I'm gonna say, do you think your 96-year-old mother-in-law nanny is messing with you and she's causing the ice dams?
Well, I don't know. You know, I'm really upset with her because she's going to be 97 in April, and I bought her a brand new snow shovel at Home Depot, and she won't use it.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I could see Nanny unhooking some plumbing and running it through the walls and then blaming snow dams. Can't you?
Listen, I'm very concerned she's going to be at my wake. I'm very concerned. She runs up and down the stairs. Yeah. She hasn't missed a meal in 2 years.
That's just the 2 years she's been living with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, why don't you send her out with a sledgehammer to go after those big icicles?
Oh,
If you give her a sledgehammer, she might not go after the icicles.
I
That's
know.
the problem.
Yeah, she may be looking for me because I bought her the shovel.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you, I'm just horrified with what happened.
It is.
I mean, we
it
had
is
stuff,
horrific.
water coming down through the walls, through the kitchen cabinets. I mean, into the basement.
It's not good.
I had to get a crew out there to clear off the roof because it's high up. It's a colonial, and they got it cleaned up, and they're not giving it away. That's for sure. The time.
But like Debbie mentioned, I mean, you're better off paying somebody
no question
$500 or
about it.
$1,000 to take care of it instead of getting up on your roof, because it's just. I mean, it's covered in ice. You don't want to slip off a roof.
It's a bad place to be.
Unless you can reach it from the ground with one of those snow rakes, you hire somebody.
You know, I saw a really cool thing on YouTube. Somebody had created their own kind of a snow rake.
I saw that, Bob. Did it have that plastic?
Yeah, the plastic
thing
yellow
cut the
thing.
Yeah, that was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was basically like it was like a shovel with no back edge on it,
Yeah.
and the snow would come through. And then the plastic piece would unroll.
Yep.
And the snow would just hit the ground.
Yeah.
So there was no actual shoveling.
It was a great invention.
Yeah. It was like a slip and slide for snow.
It was a slip and slide for snow.
Yeah.
That's a perfect way to explain it.
It was impressive. Whoever came up with that's probably going to make a lot of money on that.
A ton of money. Yeah.
Too bad he couldn't bring them to market like in a couple of days.
Yeah. When he gets it to market, we won't get snow for years.
It'd be July by the time it comes to market.
I did see a comment on that device, though, where you have to run it up the roof, which goes kind of against the lay of the shingles. And there was some concern that you could damage the shingle. I don't know what the edge of that tool was all about, but you wouldn't want to go too close to the shingle because those asphalt shingles have a coating on them that doesn't want want to be disturbed.
It looked like the way they were doing it was they weren't actually cleaning it down to the roof.
No,
Yeah,
they were leaving a
like
little snow on
3
it.
or 4, 6,
right.
6
That's what
inches.
you'd have to do to be safe about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But 6 inches of snow on the roof is better than 60.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we'll see what happens this weekend. I'm really hoping we don't get snow.
Well, what's actually going to happen if we get if you've got a foot of snow on you and ice back up on your roof, and we get 2 inches of water, what do you think's going to happen, Deb?
Well, I think there's much more potential for roofs caving in
Yeah.
because the weight is already significant, and once you add water to snow on a roof, it becomes even more. Think of it as
like
turning
concrete.
into concrete.
And the ice dam,
It's-
it's not going to be able to get by
Yeah.
the ice dam and roll off.
It's a real
It's going to
recipe.
back right up under the shingles.
It's a recipe for disaster. It's really, and then there are going to be other problems that result further down the road too from ice dams and the water that they let into your house. And those two problems really, one of them is mold, because now you've got water that's penetrated the wall and could be down in the insulation. It could be in places that you don't even know exist. And then the other problem is ants, because carpenter ants will seek wet wood. This problem's not going to show up until well into the spring and early summer, but it's something to be aware of and something to check for.
Yeah, and carpenter ants are no fun either. I remember that having those in my parents' house when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I think it was similar. It was a really wet winter.
Yep.
And I think maybe the sill got wet,
Yeah.
and the ants found their way in. And I remember being in the basement, and I felt something drop from the ceiling.
Ooh.
And I was like, what the heck was that? And I didn't see anything. Then I look up, and the whole beam, like probably 10 to 12 feet long, just covered. I mean, it was big. It was black with carpenter ants. That was disgusting.
Well, that's normally where they go, is into the sill area,
Yeah.
right on top of the cement. And I mean, once they've eaten through,
yeah.
you got a huge problem. You got to
Well, my parents got lucky. They
replace
didn't
it,
eat
you
through.
know?
They just happened to follow an electrical
Yeah.
conduit that was kind of damp.
Well, the good news is it's really not an expensive thing to treat for ants,
Yeah.
and it's there's a lot of companies out there that do it, and it's definitely worth a little, do an inspection, see what you've got.
Yeah.
after this winter, it's definitely worth doing in the summer.
Yeah, I expect that there'll be a lot of roofers that are busy once the snow lets up.
Yeah, and a lot of basement waterproofers and a lot of pest companies.
Yep.
Yeah, unfortunately, and this is going to affect the real estate market too, because there are going to be people whose homes are going on the market soon, and if they end up with a last-minute surprise of a couple feet of water in their basement or a nice, big water stains all over their ceilings, I think buyers are going to have to be a little bit forgiving of some of these situations this year and understand that, like Pete says, he's owned the house
38 years.
years. He's never had any water, and this is the year he's got it. A house is not an impenetrable fortress.
No.
When nature has its way, these things happen, and most of them, fortunately, can be fixed. And
Yeah.
they're also pretty rare. So
They are. It's not like we get 6 feet of snow in a 2.5 week period.
This
every
isn't
year.
a normal winter.
I really don't see buyers being overly concerned if the seller explains what happened.
Oh, yeah.
Explains what's been done to fix the problem.
Yeah.
The
And it's not-
buyer is in a better situation because they know that there's no problem.
And it's more common. It's not like they're going to look at one house and it's the only house that
Oh,
has
they're
that.
gonna-
Oh,
It's gonna
no.
be very
Lots
common.
of houses are going to have that.
A lot of
Yeah.
them.
And if you find one that doesn't, buy it.
Yes, yeah, and offer high because 20 other people with
gonna
you are
want
going to
it.
be
Yeah,
making offers.
that's right.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I think I mentioned earlier, a local insurance person in my area told me the other day they're getting 5 claims a day
Oh, for the
for
water
the
damage, ice
water
dams?
damage.
Yeah.
5 claims a day, and this is a very small company
Yeah.
with 2 people writing insurance.
Yeah,
Wow.
it happens when you end up with a winter like this. But on the plus side, as we talked about in the last segment, once the snow is melted, or once we stop getting snow every couple of days, I think you will start seeing houses come back on the market, because a lot of people made the decision in January that they were going to list, and all they're waiting for is for the snow to stop coming down every 2 seconds before they put it on the market. I don't think people are going to wait till April or May. I think
No, I don't think they are either. Yeah.
once you make that mental decision that it's time to move, then you're just on pins and needles waiting to get it on the market.
Yeah, and the real estate agents are really sensitive to market conditions, and we know that this is a year where you can put your house on the market right now and you can sell it. There's not any real reason to wait much longer. Unless you really and truly are still doing your projects and getting things ready, but now is good.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, there's no question. Once these sellers can take the time away from shoveling and and using the snowblower and running around with the pails, they're gonna get the pictures off the walls and get that house sold.
You know, we had somebody telling us last week that Framingham's got so crazy for multifamilies.
Wow.
That he had a buyer go look at one. He said it was in downtown Framingham, which is not the best area, not in a great section. He said, but it was a big 2-family, and it was in pretty nice shape. They went through the house and they redid the inside of it. He said it was on the market for $340,000. He said so many people showed up to the open house that it caused a traffic jam, and it sold for, get this, now this is a 2-family in downtown Framingham. Asking price $340,000. Sold for $390,000.
Oh my!
$50,000 over asking price in downtown Framingham.
I hope it was a cash buyer because that sounds like an appraisal problem
It was
to me.
It actually was. The buyer had the cash.
Wow.
But
that's crazy.
That's what's happening now. And
that's a sign.
Yeah, it's a sign that what was happening in Boston last year, because all of us were, we had a busy year purchase-wise last year, but it got started late, so we didn't see the volume we normally see because it was such a short period. But in Boston, it was going gangbusters. I mean, it was just insane. 10, 12, 15 people offering on properties and selling 10, 15, 20% above asking price or more.
Yep.
That wasn't happening out here, but I think it usually happens when it starts out in Boston.
Trends move west.
Yeah.
Yes, trends always move west.
Well, after the parking and plowing problem in Boston this winter, they'll be selling parking spaces for $100,000.
And people
they're already
buy
doing
them.
that.
And people buying them. Yeah, they do. And what is it, Back Bay or Beacon Hill?
Anywhere in Boston.
Anywhere,
I mean,
that's right.
Yeah, I think the going rate 10 years ago for a parking spot in Boston was $50,000-$60,000 for a deeded spot.
Wow.
Yep.
Now it's got to be at least double that, maybe more.
Yeah.
And I think what you'll also see is a lot of people that went through the winter in Boston, that have been thinking about maybe moving to the suburbs. This will probably drive them out. I mean, they're turning half the streets in Boston into one-ways because there's literally nowhere to put the snow anymore. They can't remove it.
I think you're right, Bob, and we get a lot of that in this market area because the buyers that have started out in Boston, their jobs are there. It's a cool place to be. Eventually, they start a family and they want to settle down, and they look around for a place that's affordable with a good school system and not too far from Boston, and they land out here.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to have them. It's
right.
It's a good choice.
It is, and if you're driving in off hours, if you beat the commute in the morning, from Westboro to Boston, it's only about a half an hour, 40 minutes
correct.
tops.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, granted, if you wait until 8 o'clock to leave, it's going to be a different drive-in. But if you live out here, you don't wait till 8 o'clock to drive in.
If you want to get up and make the trip bright and early and get some extra work done, it's a breeze.
Yeah.
But if you wait for the 8, 9 o'clock traffic, you're not.
That's true everywhere.
Anywhere.
And we also have commuter rail service here, too.
Yeah, right down in Westboro,
South
Southboro.
Station.
Yeah.
Right to South Station. So,
Yeah,
it's
so
Does that got anything to do with the MBTA? No, I don't want
Yeah,
to.
that's a little bit of a mess right now.
I think
too.
the trains have been running pretty well. It's the trolleys
Yeah.
that have been plagued.
Well, they're only manufactured in 1945.
Well, yeah, I think the line that we're on, I think
why worry about it?
the Metro West line, I believe, is one of the oldest ones. They should have been putting money into upgrading this one instead of extending all the other ones.
Yeah, why did they extend I don't want to get into it, the green line.
Yeah, billions of dollars to extend a line for what, 18 feet?
With cars that you could put an antique license plate on them.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely absurd.
That's Massachusetts government, right? I do have to make a quick announcement here. This is the portion of the show where we always mention that Ross Mortgage is one of the sponsors of the show, and Ross Mortgage is a licensed mortgage broker and lender in Massachusetts. Our identifier is MC2084. Also want to give out Deb Schradieck's information. Again, she's a listing and selling agent in the Metro West area, all of Central Mass, all the way down to Hopkinton. And how far north do you go, Debbie?
Well, probably up to Berlin and Bolton,
Yeah, so you
Boylston.
You cover a big swatch of the central part of the state.
That's right.
So if you're thinking about buying or selling in Massachusetts, give Debbie a call, 508-951-6441. Again, it's 508-951-6441. And what about some tips for buyers right now that are having trouble finding a property?
Well, to buyers, I have this to say: be patient. I know it gets frustrating, and I have buyers myself that check their email every day, and they see that nothing new has come on the market, and it does get a little discouraging. But it's going to change. It's going to change real soon, and you'll see lots of new inventory coming up. So it's a good time to be a buyer. Like I said, don't wait. Get started now.
Mm-hmm.
Get your pre-approval. Give Bob a call. He will be glad to help you. And that is your single biggest asset when you're a buyer, is having a strong letter of pre-approval or pre-qualification, whatever you want to call it.
Because if you're going in a multiple offer situation and you've got some internet company that nobody's ever heard of,
that's right.
You're going to get passed over, because typically those internet companies, they're not that you can't get a loan from them. It's just that their reputation is that they're not local, and when the chips are down, they'd rather not waste their time, because they don't care if you get the house or not in the end. They just want as many deals as they can get in.
I think when you're in a multiple offer situation and you're a buyer, it really matters where your pre-approval came from, because the listing broker is going to be lining up all those offers and trying to pick the one they think is the strongest. And if other factors are equal, such as the offer amount and the dates and all that stuff, they're going to look and see who the pre-approval came from. And if it's somebody that's local, that's known, that's reputable, that's going to carry a lot more weight than some unknown internet company that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah, because you don't want to recommend to your seller to accept an offer, and then financing date comes and the deal doesn't
That's
go
right.
through.
And that's always what the problem is. It's making the deadlines and keeping things moving in a timely fashion.
Which isn't always easy. So you got to have the right team behind you. Real estate agent.
Ross Mortgage makes it easy, because they put you in the email loop. They keep you informed every step of the way. I really can't say enough about this process. It is it really makes everyone's job a lot easier, and it also makes the loan process a lot less stressful for everybody involved, for the buyer, for the agents, for the attorneys. There's a whole circle of people who are involved in every loan and every closing, and really does make it much more enjoyable.
Well, thank you very much, Debbie. I appreciate you
Thank
saying
you.
that. And thanks for being on the
appreciate
show
your
with
great
us.
service.
Thanks, Deb. Good job.
Thank you, Pete.
That's it for this segment of Real Estate Matters. Stay tuned. We'll be back with the Leaders and Legends segment next.